Okay, so my name is Scott Galloway. I'm the Program Director at Leapfox Learning, and I would like to welcome everybody on this webinar. I'm excited. This is one of the first trainings that we're doing, one of the first webinars that we're doing on Office 365. And we're going to be working our way through several of the Office 365 products. Today is Microsoft Suede. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm actually going to start with Microsoft Suede here. So you should be able to see my screen. Travis, can you see my screen here? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and, now I've got my presentation set up in a vertical, and Jason will show you how to do the different ways of presenting your material. Just a little bit about Leapfox Learning. We do several different kinds of training. We have Classroom Live, and our Classroom Live classes are hands-on, and those are held here at our training center in Meridian. We do Remote Live. We have hundreds of different training classes running every single week, and our Remote Live, all you need is a camera I'm sorry, not a camera. All you need is a headset and speakers, and you can participate in one of our Remote Live classes. We also do a number of our classes on demand, which means you can start and stop the class whenever you like. It's pre-recorded. Okay, a little bit about our webinar speaker today. Jason Bird is, I'm excited to have Jason Bird. He's our senior instructor here at Leapfox Learning. He is an MBA. He has his MCT, and that's the Microsoft Certified Trainer. He's one of only 4 or 5 individuals in the state of Idaho that have this certification. He's a certified ethical hacker, and not only is he a certified ethical hacker, but he's a certified ethical hacking instructor. And he is the only one in Idaho that I know of that has that certification and is allowed to officially teach that course. He's a specialist in Microsoft Office, Office 365, Microsoft technical subjects, as well as cybersecurity. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Jason. Jason, if you, let's see, you should be unmuted. Go ahead, Jason.
All right. Well, thanks, Scott. I appreciate that.
And then just share your screen whenever you're ready, and then instead of seeing you with my presentation, they should be able to see yours.
Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, Scott always talks me up really nice. I appreciate that. So, yeah, like Scott mentioned, I've been with Leapfox a little while. I've been teaching for quite a while, and Microsoft is my specialty. Microsoft Office 365 is becoming really popular nowadays, and there's a lot of different applications on there that are new for some people. Microsoft Suede is the one we're going to go through today. I'm going to show you some of the features of it, and we'll just take the time to go through some of the different aspects and hopefully learn a few things that we can apply in our work situations or at home or wherever we want to use it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen out to everybody so you can see that. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see that. I guess Scott will come in and tell me if he can't or not. So if I'm looking down a lot, I apologize. My computer screen's down a little lower. I'll try to look at you in the camera here. Typically, when you log into Microsoft Office, you will come into a screen similar to this. And I happen to have Suede right here. It's a free application that you can have with any Office 365 account. And it's meant to be used on multiple platforms, phones, tablets, whatever. And so it's one of those apps that's universal across, like I said, multiple platforms. Again, I've got Suede open over here, so I'm going to switch over to that. And this is the Suede screen right here. When you come into Suede, you have a few different options. And again, this is a presentation tool. A lot of people say, is it similar to PowerPoint? My answer to that is not necessarily similar to PowerPoint. It's not as robust. It's not meant to be an in-depth presentation tool. It's meant to create quick and easy presentations online that can be shared out with other people. So if you're looking for things like adding animations or changing formats and things like that, there's just not a lot of options for that, as you'll see here in just a minute. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down here just a little bit. You see you have an option right here if you want to start from a blank Suede template. And this is where we're going to start here in a minute. We're going to be adding our own content. But Microsoft's always, they always include all these extra little templates that you can build from with these pre-done backgrounds and fonts and animations already built in for you. But as you can see here, I've got a couple other sways that I've created. I'm going to open up one of these just to show you. That takes just a second. Okay. So the first screen that will come up is what we call the storyline screen. And the storyline screen is where you would add your content. So as you can see here, I just drag and drop, and I'll show you that here in a minute, the content I want to appear in the presentation. And you'll see things like interactive, integrate files, interactive integrated files. We're going to look at these things called stacks. We're going to look at adding videos. Group comparisons, if you want to compare two images to each other, we'll look at some of that. We'll look at arranging photos in grids and some different things. So we're going to start off by saying, you know, what is Sway? I guess I've answered that for you. It's an online presentation tool. Again, meant to be very simple to use. I'm just going to play this one so you guys can see what it looks like. Right up here in the top right corner, there's your play button. You click that, that'll open up the presentation. This one is arranged a little bit different. I've got mine arranged in horizontal format, where Scott had his vertical. I'll show you in a minute where you can change those settings, but just to look through here, you got a little scroll bar down here at the bottom right corner. This is actually a little fun video, or a little fun sway I did about using your blinkers, using your turn signal. So I tried to make a little fun one to kind of demonstrate the capabilities of the program. But some things this way can do, right? Like I mentioned earlier, no fancy animations or formatting options. Like I said, it's meant to be a quick and easy tool that is shareable online. Share it out to anybody. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute as well. We can add things like titles, text, bullets, numbering, photos, videos, etc. You know, and then those items that we add can come from multiple sources. So they can come from your own device, it can come from your OneDrive account, it can come from YouTube, it can come from Bing searches and different things like that, since it is Microsoft. And then we'll show you how to group images using these different options, stacks, comparisons, and grids. Show you how to embed files. A little tricky there, but not too bad. And then we don't have to ever worry about losing anything here inside of Sway, because everything we do is saved automatically for us. So I'm going to scroll through this presentation. Got a little funny video we're going to watch, but this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Turn signals. Seems like people are forgetting how to use those, so I thought I'd do a little presentation on that. All right, so we got some funny things here. This is a pretty good video of a daughter who, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it very well, but I'll play it. I think there's words on the screen. Her dad sent her in the store to purchase some blinker fluid, so I'm going to play this real quick here.
Can you share the video? Are you going to share the video? All right, so we have to share your audio. So pause it for just a sec.
I'm going to pause this for just 1 second so you can hear it.
All right, so go to share.
This one?
Mm-hmm. And then you do need to share computer sound and then optimize. Well, that's fine. And then screen share, and then you go back to point again.
Okay, so I think we got this audio thing figured out here with Scott. So I haven't used the Zoom program too often, but we'll see how it plays now here.
What? There is no such thing as blinker fluid. Don't videotape me.
Did you ask for the bucket of steam too?
Yes!
I even told her, what is a bucket of steam?
It's not funny. I look like an idiot.
What did they say?
All of them were laughing at us. He said, if your blinker's not working, you could try the bulb. And he said that through laughter. It wasn't funny. I've never been so embarrassed in my life. And then he goes, you know, I think someone's trying to play an April Fool's joke on you.
Did
and
you show him the coupon?
I was like, no, we have a coupon.
Yeah, so that one's pretty funny. Dad sent her into the store, asked for some blinker fluid and a bucket of steam, and he gave her a coupon as an April Fool's joke. It's pretty funny, but things like that we can incorporate. I'm going to show you how we can place more emphasis on this video if we want it bigger or smaller, different things like that. Keep on going through here. This is one of the options I talked about. the stack option where you can just add a whole bunch of photos to Sway and stack them on top of each other, and that way people can just click through each of the photos and see them like this. So a lot of fun ways of organizing things, right? So some of the funny ones I found here. And I'll share this out to anybody who wants it if you want to read through some of these, but I'm going to go ahead and keep on going on. This one is just demonstrating how we can integrate things like charts or Excel files or Word documents, anything that we want people to be able to interact with, like a file from our computer. You can actually go in here and click on that and make changes to it. If we scroll over here a little bit more to the right, you can see I made a chart about the percentage of signals used by decade. And we can see that decline down as it goes here. Over here in the lower right corner of your, in this case, an Excel spreadsheet, we have these 4 buttons. Each one of these buttons, information about this workbook, tell Microsoft what you're thinking, download this file if you want to download this file to your computer, and we have this button over here in the far right corner that lets you open up this in a full-size workbook. So if I click that, it'll open up to my Excel online here. We can see the chart that I actually built to add to that Sway presentation, right? So it's pretty neat, all the stuff that you can integrate in there. If I keep on going here, this is a cool little feature that I played around with a little bit, showing comparisons between 2 images. So I put a car before and after image in it. When you do these comparisons, I'm going to show you how to create these as well. You get this slider, you can drag right and left to see before and after effects of different things. It's a pretty cool little feature. Keep on going here, and this is just another option for arranging information on your Sway. This could be files, it could be photos, it could be video presentations. I just added a few photos and a video on here, and you can see the video will play if I click on this. So all sorts of cool little things here. Again, quick and easy to use, not meant to be very complicated, but it creates a pretty nice presentation. So we're going to go through and kind of go through the steps that it took me to get that created on our own here. So let's go ahead and stop this. And if you ever want to stop your video, you just come up here and click on edit. It'll take you back into your storyline mode. All right. So we're gonna attempt to recreate this. So we're gonna go back up here, click on Sway. And again, we can either choose a pre-designed template or create from scratch here. In this case, I want to create new. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. Always starts just like in Microsoft PowerPoint, asking us for a title slide here. So this is where we would type in something like, how to use your turn signal, right? And if you notice down below here, there's a little plus sign. And this is where I could add some more content to this little title. If I wanted to add, for example, a text with some bullet points or an image, or upload something from my computer from another source, I could do it from here. You see there's a few tabs up here. There's one for just text. There's one for media if I want to add audio clipping, or an embedded file, which we're going to look at later. And then we have a group option here, which we're going to look at some of these different options as well. With the, we'll mainly focus on these 3. I'll show you some of the slideshow options a little bit later. But right over here, if I want to add a background image, there's a couple ways you can do it. So I have this little insert button up here in the top right. If I click on that, it'll open up some suggested searches based on the title I typed in, which is kind of neat. If you don't want to do some searches, just click on one of these links here. And it's going to go ahead and take you to some images and videos of those things. Or you could just click on this little button here. If you didn't click on this, if you click on the background button, it's going to open that same thing up. So either way, it's pretty easy. You can see it even says drag an item over here. So if I go over here and I say, let's look for an image of a turn signal. And this is defaulted to Bing. So I can see, okay, there's one of the images I used. I just take that and drag it right over here on top of that. Okay. So pretty easy to add content to this. And again, depending on, you might have some images on your computer or might have some images stored in your OneDrive account. Let's see, somebody's asking a question here. Yeah, so somebody asked the question here, is Sway able to be viewed on a phone? And Yeah, most definitely. So any device that can connect to the internet, it's presentable on. So I don't have an example to show you on that, but from what I hear, it looks pretty good on the phone. So it can, like I said, it can be viewed on any type of device, tablets, phones. It doesn't matter what type of device it is. Right up here in the top right where it says suggested, that's the default option when you're inserting something and when you want to do a search. You can also click that and see that we have all these other options from OneDrive, from Flickr, from Bing Images, Picket, YouTube, and then your device. If you want to click on that, it'll just open up a browse window where you can browse your photos and find some of those things, which we'll come to that a little bit later. Again, you know, if we want to see where we're at so far, you can check to see what it looks like at any point of the presentation. You can stop and go up here and go out of storyline and go into design view. Design view gives you a kind of an example of what it looks like at this point in time. If that's not something you like, over here in design view, we have the styles button. So if you click on the styles button, again, you don't have a lot of a ton of formatting options. Again, this program is meant to be that quick, easy, let us choose something for you type of program. But you can see up here at the top, you can choose the way you want this laid out. If I want it in a slideshow format, if I want it in a horizontal format, and you can see how that changes or in a vertical format, right? And we'll add some more stuff to this so we can see that. I'll go ahead and switch it over to here to horizontal since that's what my other one was. And then we'll come back and switch it back to slides just to see what that looks like and kind of play around with that. But right down here, if you don't like the colors options available to you and certain things that are available to you, you can choose to customize. And it brings open some options where, you know, we can add a custom color. You do have to know the red, green, and blue formula or the hexadecimal value for the color that you want to be able to use, and this would apply for backgrounds and fonts and things like that. So I'm not going to dive into that much, but let's go ahead and keep on scrolling down here. We can see that when we're in custom mode, we also get this option to add a little animation emphasis. And again, Sway is going to choose the animations for you, and it could be just like where the picture kind of slowly floats in or different things like that. And that really depends on the style that you're choosing. So we're going to go back here into the styles window. So again, we have a bunch of different rows of style options with different picture backgrounds and different things like that. If I already want a picture background or I've already put one in like I did earlier, I would probably just go with one of these, you know, standard basic color backgrounds. There's a whole bunch. If we go down here, for example, and you can see the what the font's going to look like, and then I'm going to show you in a minute how you can emphasize and accent your font. This would be the color of your font if you emphasized or accented it, but we'll show you that here in a minute. So let me go ahead and choose one. Like, let's say we like this one here. So you can see the background that kind of appears with that one, and there's a bunch more over here for each of these rows. Don't have really a lot of time to go through each. This is really one of those programs you want to take the time to just kind of explore and click on some things. And while you're in this design view, you'll be able to see what that'll look like. So let me find one that kind of matches what I had there. Yeah, something like that. That's close enough. Right. So again, personal preference. This one's kind of like a little old school paper looking stuff back here. So let's go back into storyline mode, and let's add some more content to this. I'll go ahead and click back over here on storyline, and this is where again we can add some more content. So if I want to add like a picture from my computer, we could do that a couple different ways. We can come over here, click on the suggested drop down, and say from my device I can scroll or, you know, navigate to wherever my picture is, and I can drag that and drop that right in there from that folder. So if I just drag this picture of Obi-Wan over here into the picture, oh, did not go. Oh, it's not letting me do that. It's prohibited right now. Yeah, we got our zones turned on here. So let me show you another way we can do that. So again, pretty easy. I'm just going to come down here and click the plus sign and say I want to add an image. It's going to add an image placeholder here. And again, I can click on that drag an image here, little box. If we did a search for it over here, OB1 turn signal. See what comes up here. Now this little checkbox right here, Creative Commons only, is checked by default, and that's Microsoft's way of making sure that you're not copying and using copyrighted material. If you turn that off, this is all the content. It might not be copyrighted. Some of these are videos and some are images. If you're on the all screen, you can tell if they're video. They'll have the little video symbol next to them. Images here. So let's see. We'll just drag one of these over. Doesn't matter which one, just to show you. So if I drag this over here and drop it, again, let's take a look at that in design view and see what that looks like. So again, you can see here that it's kind of small, right? Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, let's make that a little bit bigger. So I'm going to click up here on that little toolbar of that image, and I will say right here, this is where we can set a little bit more emphasis on this particular card. So we have a medium emphasis and a big emphasis. I'll go to medium. Let's go back here now and take a look and see what that looks like. So we'll click back on design. You can see that increased the size of it a little bit, right? And so you really have just 3 levels of emphasis, small, medium, or large, that you can switch between on photos and videos and different things like that that you insert in Sway, right? So let's go back now, and I want to add a title for this image here that I just put on. So I'm going to go back into storyline mode. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to say, let's add a heading 1 to this, and I will call this one Picture of Darth Vader. Okay, we'll go ahead and highlight that. And now I want this to stand out a little bit more, this text. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say, let's emphasize that text. And if you want to, you can add an accent to it, and that'll just make it a little italicized, right? So I probably want that title above the image, though, to come before it in order of things. So I'm going to just drag that, see that blue line, and drop that above that image. So let's see, somebody might have a question here. Oh, okay, yeah. So I want to encourage you guys, we have a little chat button on your screen you should be able to see. I encourage you, if you have any questions as I'm going through any of this, go ahead and ask some questions. I'll try to pay attention, make sure I answer those for you as soon as we can. And then after, we might have to give you a little bit of time if you want to stick around and answer any questions for you. So as I'm going through, I will go ahead and keep my eye open on that for you. So let's take a look at where we're at so far. So I'm just going to switch back over to design, and I can see that I've got my title slide. Now I've got a header here for this picture that tells us what it is. Down below this, I could add some bullets of some text, other information about this picture if I wanted to. All right, let's go back to storyline, and let's add some more information to this. So again, adding a video. This could be a video on my computer, right? I could come over here and say my device. If I wanted that picture of Obi-Wan, I think I have it here. I could just come over here and open that up and add that into the down below here, right? So really easy to do, right? So far, so good. And again, if I want to do a video, let's do Dad Tricks. I think I just did blinker fluid. That's what I did on that one. If I could spell, that'd be awesome. Crank here. So we'll see if we can find that video. Yeah, and I think it was this one here, right? And so again, I would just drag that over here and drop that in, and automatically makes it a video. And I would probably want, again, as I'm adding things in, if I want to describe more information about them, you can click over here and type in a caption. That caption kind of shows up small next to the video or the photo. So what I like to do is, like I showed you earlier, I like to always add a title slide, so or a heading slide. So I'll come up here and I'll just add a heading again to this one. you know, and you can do that first and add the photo or the video after. It's up to you because you can always drag these around. I might say video, you know, daughter, print, right? And I know I can't spell today. I don't know what's going on. There we go. And I can just drag that again up above the video, or drag the video in this case, since it's kind of linked to this section up here. I'm just going to drag the video down below here. That'll work too, right? And that links that into another section for just this video. So again, we can place emphasis on this video, make it a little bit bigger. Well, let's do the full screen on this one. Let's go ahead and take a look where we're at so far. So we'll come back up here again. And you're going to be doing a lot of switching back and forth between storyline and design, and possibly even play up here just to see what it's looking like so far. But if we click on design here, I can see that my video is pretty big, and we can see that text I added for that title or that header, right? And again, at any point you can change this. So we'll go back to storyline here. Right, so far so good. Now let's just grab a few pictures and let's make a little stack. So when you start out with a picture stack, like I showed you earlier, we're going to just click the plus sign again to insert content. It's going to say what kind of content do we want to use. This happens to fall under the group category down here, right? So we'll click on group and we'll click stack. Now we've got a group stack section here. Now I'm just going to come over here and I'll look for some funny blinker or turn signal. Let's see what comes up. There's some stuff that I can't be responsible for on these searches, right? That comes up. But here is like when I'll just drag that over here, scroll down and find, drag this other one down here, just drop it. Let's do a couple more. Here's one with the Darth Vader, drop it down there. Then there's the Matrix one, okay. And so, you know, we just added 4 pictures to a stack. If I want to make again, those images bigger or smaller, I'm going to click on the top toolbar up here for that group. Come up here and I'll say, let's place a little bit more emphasis on these and set that emphasis on this stack a little bit bigger. Now let's go ahead and preview that. So I'll click up here again on design. Let's see what we've got. Picture of Darth Vader. We didn't place too much emphasis on this guy, so it made it a little bit smaller, and that's fine. And then there's our video with our daughter, and there's our little stack that we can click through, right, of our images. Go back into storyline. See, it's really pretty easy, just repetitive things. It's not a whole lot of menus to remember and follow through, and I think that's probably the biggest thing when I teach like PowerPoint and some of these other presentation classes is just all the tools that you have to learn how to use. And this one, it's pretty straightforward. So, and again, if I wanted to, I could come down below here and I'll add a header to this stack, and I'll call it, you know, stack of pictures or something like that. All right. Emphasize that if you want to make it stand out a little bit more, and I want that above here, so I'll just go ahead and drag that up. And it's not going to let me drop it on, so if it doesn't let me drop it on top, then guess what? We'll just grab the stack and drag it down. Below the heading here, right? And so again, preview that. Oh, let's see, we got some questions here. That's a good question. So Beverly, or Becky, sorry, Becky asked if we can stack with a video. Yeah, I don't see why not. I haven't tried it personally, but yeah, you should be able to stack any kind of image or video if you want to. When you get to that video, just click on the play button. It should work, but I haven't tried it, to be honest with you. So a couple people asked that question, right? So keep them coming. All right. So again, with that title added now, we can come up here and take a look. There's my title for stack of pics. And it gets the emphasis font. Okay, like I said, click through them. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if it worked with the video. I know you can do it in a grid, so we'll find out. We'll try one here in a minute. Let's see if we can find a video. So let's go back up here to storyline. Again, just switching back and forth between design and storyline, just to kind of see where you're at. Even if I want to, at this point, stop and say, I wonder what this would look like as a slideshow rather than a horizontal deck here. So we can come back up to design, click on our little styles button in the top right corner here, right? Scroll up to the top here and we can see, let's try this as a slideshow. And so at this point, you know, maybe this design view doesn't give me quite the view I want. So let's go ahead and play this thing and take a look at it. So let's go ahead and play it. And we can see it comes up. That's how it's going to come up. See, it adds its own little animation to it for me. I didn't have to do any of that. Got a header here, picture of Darth Vader. There it is, right? Okay, let's go back to that one. So I noticed, like on this one, I'm cutting off some of the text. So we're going to come back to that here in just a second. I want to show you how to fix that. But, okay, there's the video of the daughter being pranked. There's my stack of pics I can click through. And that's the end of the show. And then if you want to get out of this, you just have to hover over here in the top right corner, click on edit, and it will take us back into, in this case, we were in design when we went in there, so I'll just go back to storyline here. So that's, you know, that's what it would look like as a slideshow instead of a horizontal deck. So lots of different options with that. So I wanted to, though, go back up to this Obi-Wan picture. I want to place a little bit more emphasis so we can actually see this font or this text down here. So if I click on that picture and click on this little option here, focus points, it'll open up that picture over here on the right. Now I can say, in this picture, when we're looking at it on this slideshow, I want to always see information from here to here and all this information down here. And you can just put these little dots all over the place just to get an idea of, you know, to let the program know we want to show all this. So if we go back and play this now from the start, and that should bring all of that into focus now, right? So you will get that. Sometimes it'll make that executive's decision on its own what part of the picture to show. You can go in and tell it, no, I want to override that and show this stuff too. So you need to know how to control that. Again, not a lot of buttons to press. You could probably figure a lot of these things out just by playing with the program. You know, for about 10-15 minutes, you could learn a lot of this on your own, but it's always nice to have somebody kind of sit down and show you how easy it is to work with, right? So let's go ahead and continue on. Let's add a comparison option here. So right down below this stack, I want to add a comparison. So I'm going to come down here at the bottom of the stack, click down here and get the little plus sign for add content. In this case, I need to do a stack option. That's also under group. They'll give you some suggested things that you might want to do down here, but this would also be found under group if you can't find it there. I'm going to click on, comparison is what we want to do. So I'm going to click comparison. And you can see it wants me to add an image here and here. So if I click on add an image, it's going to give me two choices. I'm going to find an image or I'm just going to upload an image. So I'm going to click upload. And I happen to have a before image. I'll double click on it. It actually will drop it down below here. I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. There's my after picture. So now that I've got those, I'm just going to drag my before picture up here, drop it in, and my after picture up here and drop it in to that stack, right? So let's take a look. And again, I want this to be a little bit more emphasis, so I'm going to click on the top here. I'm going to say, let's add a little bit more focus or emphasis on this. We'll go to the medium setting on this. Let's go ahead and preview it in design view here. So you can see this is what it would look like. I've got my little slider here. I can drag left or right, up before and after the image. In this case, I want to set some focus points on this. So right from this design screen, you can actually click on it and set your focus points and say, let's go ahead and focus on all of this stuff, right? or you can say the entire image is important and just do that, and then you don't have to worry about those at all. If you want to see the whole image, that'll save you a little bit of time, right? We'll go ahead and we can see now it shows the whole image over here, and we can slide back and forth between it. Really cool feature, right? I need to do the same thing on this one. Oh, it's I have to go back into Storyline to do that. So I would have to click on that image, do the focus points on that one. I'll say the entire image is important. Okay, we're good. All right. So really cool tool, adding comparisons. And again, you know, add a title to this or whatever you want to do. I showed you how to do that a few times. Just click down here at the bottom, add some content, go to text, add a heading 1. We'll call this one comparison of crash before and after. All right, drag that. I'll just grab this one and drag it down below this. How about that? Maybe, maybe not. There we go. There it is. Okay, you gotta wait for the line to show up. There we go. Now we got the heading up above there. You can add an image to this. Right, just click background. I don't know. Let's just drag this one over. Okay, so pretty easy to do. If we want up here again in design, preview that. There's our image. It's not working with that. Maybe if we go back here into styles and say, let's try it back horizontal. Let's take a look what it would look like that way. So again, all these different options. Yeah, there it works. It's my before and after, right? So pretty neat, pretty cool program. Just a couple more things really quick I want to show you. Again, not a whole lot to do with this program. It pretty much does most of the work for you, but it's a really fun tool to use and create a nice little professional looking online presentation. So I'm going to go back in Storyline view here. Scroll down to the bottom again. Get that out of the way for a second here. Let's show you how to embed a file. And so, you know, there's only one really kind of caveat to embedding or making a file interactive with the presentation tool Sway, is you have to have that file uploaded to a OneDrive account in order for you to mess with that. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, let's add another thing, but this time I want to add media. And this media that I want to add is going to be an embedded object, right? So I'm going to say embedded. It's going to open up a little panel for me saying, hey, we need you to get this code that will allow us to paste that here and show that object so we can interact with it or link to it. Once you've got that window open, you can come up into, for example, your OneDrive account. I happen to have my OneDrive account open already with this Excel spreadsheet done with a signal chart that I created. I'm going to click in there and open that up really quick. There we go. And there's my chart. And you can see that that chart takes up from about F2 to V, looks like V31. So I want to remember that because that's the range that I want to embed or copy. So I'm going to come up here, click on this share button up here in the top right and say embed. This will calculate and create that embed code for you. Comes up. And I'll say, well, what do I want to show? The entire workbook? No, I don't want to show the entire workbook. I just want to show a specific range. So if we remember the range was F2 to V31. So I'm going to come up here again, share, embed. So I'll come up here and say, select a range, and I'll type it in, F2 through V31. Then if I click out of there, it should show you a preview of what that will look like. Okay. Then we just copy this embedded code that's down here that it creates. You can close this window now, you don't need it. Go back to your Sway presentation and paste that code down here. All right. Then we can take a look at it in design view real quick, see what that did. Let's close this window. So let me scroll over here. Okay, so there's my spreadsheet, and you can see it's not very big. That's because I didn't put a lot of emphasis on it, but we have those little 4 buttons we can scroll through, and we can interact with this this table or this chart. again, if I want to put more emphasis, go back into storyline, come up here, click on the top of the embed card right here, and we'll say, let's place a little bit more emphasis. I'll set it to medium. Let's take a look and see what that did. Yeah, it made it a little bit bigger, right? Makes a lot more of the chart. So again, you might go to large depending on how big your, the file is and the information on the file that you want to display, right? So that's entirely up to you, right? And so again, pretty cool tool. I got a couple more questions. Let's take a look here. So yeah, we're gonna show you here in the last few minutes how to finally, once you've got this presentation put together. I added a couple other things to mine. I added a welcome slide here at the end, or a thank you slide at the end. But again, that was just an image I drug over and added a heading to it, and I kind of wrapped it up there. And those are the main things. Again, just remember like your styles pane, and there's all these different styles you can attempt to try. And if I want to see what it looks like with this one, and that's going to modify. And then how you want it laid out. Those are these three options up above here. Customizing, if you want to add your own color schemes and different things like that. That's your style side of things. And then really from the storyline side, there's the insert options here, which you can insert from all these different locations. So not too much, and you can also use this add content button here to add objects and information to your sway, right? So let's look at sharing really quick here. So right up here in the top right corner of your sway window next to the play button, and again, that play button is what most people will click on when they want to see the presentation live, but right up here next to the share. So if we click on share, you have a few different options. I can choose only those within my organization share this with anybody or anybody with a link to my account, or most commonly what I do is share to specific people or groups. And when you check that option here, you can choose two options. You can invite people just to view the presentation or to edit, and those are pretty common options with Office 365. If you want them to be able to change things and allow edit responsibilities, if you just want them to view it, just leave it to you. They're going to get this link sent to them, and you'll just enter the email addresses right here of those people that you want. So if I want to share it to Scott, oh, isn't that? Oh, there it is. Okay, Scott Galway. How many email accounts does he have? I'll do that one there, right? And then I just click invite, and he's going to go ahead and get this invitation sent to him, and can see this sway, right? So really fun tool. Hopefully we were able to, wish we had more time to go through everything, but it really, as you can see, I pretty much covered all of it kind of quickly, I understand, but again, there's not much to sway. It's a pretty simple program to use. It's kind of fun to play around with. So that's what I would suggest for you guys. Just take the time to go on here and, just drag some things over and see what it does. That's how I learned this program, right? That's how I kind of learn a lot of these new programs. But once you've learned one program, all of them are pretty similar in certain ways. So again, Microsoft always making changes to these things. So I appreciate your time. I think Scott wants to kind of add a couple little things here at the end, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, so we'll do a call out right now for anyone who has any questions for Jason about Sway as an online presentation tool. So we'll wait just a moment. And also, Jason and myself will be available after we end this webinar. We'll be available on here for any questions that you might have. You can go ahead and chat those in. Okay, so I've got a question coming in. The question is, can we import a PowerPoint presentation into Sway? Did you come across that, Jason?
Yeah, I did.
On whether you're able to import?
That was one of the big things. Yeah, the answer is yes, you can. You can just drag and drop a PowerPoint presentation right into Sway. What Sway is going to do is try to make it look the best or the closest to the PowerPoint presentation as it can using the tools that it has available. I've done it a couple of times, and sometimes it distorts some of your slides, but it will integrate it in and add them as separate little, I guess, cards is what we call them, stackable cards that we can just keep on adding to. Pretty easy to do. Like I said, it's just an upload option down here below. So, and it would be an upload button right here, and you would browse your computer for that file and upload it right to there.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we've got another question in. Can a sway presentation be embedded into a SharePoint site?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I've done a lot with SharePoint, and I know that you can add any type of content to SharePoint. Since Sway is relatively new in the realm, they might not have that available as a what they call them web part, but typically, yeah. I mean, I don't see why there wouldn't be a way. It would just be another embedded, possibly a link that would show up there. I don't know if it would show up like you would see it here, though. Again, I haven't attempted it, so I don't want to tell you yes or no on that.
So that's a great question. I was wondering myself as Jason was doing the presentation whether or not a sway could be embedded on a website, not only SharePoint but on a website. So how about we'll look into that one, and we'll send out, as we send out a follow-up email, we'll include there an answer on whether or not that can be embedded on a website or on a SharePoint site. Okay, great questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, I don't see any coming in, so I'm going to just share one more thing here. Let's see here. Okay, so back to my sway. All right, so we do have a course coming up. It's a hands-on course. So today everything goes really fast because, you know, it's a show and tell and you don't have much of an opportunity to play around with things yourself. But if you're interested in coming to a hands-on course, we do have an Office 365 course coming up on July 9th. You're going to learn how to use all the apps that are in Office 365, Skype for Business, Sway, SharePoint Online, Teams, collaboration features with what we now call the productivity apps. That's Word, Outlook, Excel. Here's some details on that. The regular price on that is $300, and we're going to do a webinar promo for $199. So if you did attend this webinar, then you're welcome to contact us, and we're happy to give you that webinar promo pricing. Again, that's going to be July 9th. And that's going to be a hands-on class at our training center. Jason and I will go ahead and stay online for a few more minutes in case you have additional questions. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and close this session. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.